What is happening, everyone? Welcome to GBALL Vision. Today we are talking about the best button lock to date, in my opinion, the Hogue EX01. And I don't say that this is the best one because of maybe the action, which is fantastic. I don't say that because it's USA made. It is, and that is also fantastic. But because it is a button lock, that is the design. It is a knife, a locking knife, and it is supposed to lock up and be strong. And this is one of very few button locks that are actually built 100% properly, and to this day is the strongest button lock that I have tested. Out of over 40 different button locks, this is the strongest one. And right behind this, a nod to CJRB. They have not sent me a model, or I have not bought a model from CJRB that is a button lock that has failed yet. I can't say that about any other company, including ProTech. So that's a huge nod to CJRB, and I've never once had the EX01 fail on me either. It is just so well done. It's built like an absolute tank. You can see the nice thick plunge in there. It locks up perfectly. I was literally chiseling wood out of a nice old log with the spine of this knife, and it just kept on trucking. So just a huge testament to Hogue, and we can throw CJRB in the mix, but we are talking about the EX01 here. This bad boy is an Elishewitz design, coming in 154 cm, which is a fantastic all-around steel. You have dual thumb studs for the deployment. They work very, very good. Very well done. They have a nice stepped design and very comfortable to use. They give you a nice chamfer to get in there and open this bad boy up. You can reverse flick it just as easily. And this is not a newer button lock by any means. It's actually fairly old. This came before most of the Chinese production button locks came around. I had this back when Civivi did their first button lock. So it's not because this is a new design either. It's just that Hogue was doing these right from the start, basically. And this one is just been an absolute dream to carry. This is what I thought all button locks were gonna be like, pretty much. The spring detent is perfect. It's not real light. It's got a nice, it almost feels like a detent. You can tell it's overcoming the spring there, but it's really pronounced. It feels almost like a detent ball, and it's pretty cool. It's very stout for a button lock. This knife does not get enough praise when talking about EDC knives in general, but specifically button lock EDC knives. This knife does not get enough praise. I'm not sure why that is, but it is a fantastic EDC knife, fantastic button lock. They do have a couple different options when it comes to the handles. I opted for the black aluminum, which is a little bit more money than I think the G10 ones that they offer. You can get aftermarket clips for these. I've found this one to be very useful. You do have a little bit sticking out of your pocket there, but it makes it easy in and out. The clip works fantastic. Might not be the most aesthetically pleasing thing, but what it does do, or what it lacks in aesthetics, it makes up for in its function, and it works just outstanding. And you do not feel that clip in hand at all. It kind of tucks in here. Now that could vary from hand to hand, of course, but I think it is a great design for what it's intended to be, and that is, you know, in and out of the pocket very easily and not disturbing your grip. Beautiful drop point blade. It's been tumbled. Look at the edge on there. That is from factory. Outstanding edge work when it comes to Hogue. They do a fantastic job all the way around. I have a half dozen Hogues or so, and they are all incredibly well built and extremely sharp. So we're getting 3 1/4 cutting edge, about 3 1/2 total blade, and then we're coming down around 7 7/8 for your total length. We'll go ahead and get a quick weight on this guy. It is a little heavier because it's, it's a little bulkier. 4 1/2, 4.6, not bad at all. Not even remotely heavy. Why don't we go ahead and we'll throw it up against a couple comparison knives. How about we bring out the Paramilitary 2, we bring out the Para 3, more equivalent to the Para 2 for sure. How about we bring out a couple of its brothers. We got the Hogue RSK, the full-size boy in 20 CV, and we got the Hogue Deca. Definitely all comparable, but more comparable to the Ritter for sure. And why don't we just throw a couple randos up here. We got the Field Duty 3.5, which is what I have in my pocket today. And how about the brand new AM8 Flix 2 from AM8 and Migron. So those are all pretty fair comparisons, I would have to say. We'll throw the Centurion in there as well, which is a very fair comparison as well. I think it's a great size, and it's going to do anything that you could possibly need an EDC knife to do. This is one button lock that I can say without a doubt that I would trust in a more hard use situation. Most button locks, I would laugh at the idea of using, a Vosteed, a few certain Kaisers, Savivis. I would laugh at that idea. Other than maybe cutting through some light duty cardboard or some lighter work, some of them button locks I just do not trust. Some of them fail, just off the lightest tapping of the spine, and it's been proven that with a light plunge like that, or an incorrect plunge, if you're cutting through something and just happen to come back up and initiate with that spine, there's a chance that blade will come a slamming down on your fingers. And I'm sure most people would not prefer that to happen. Let's go ahead and get a blade stock measurement here, right here on this thickest part. 145, 146. We'll pick a random spot down here on the edge. Maybe. So 23 thousandths. And I can tell you guys, just because it doesn't come down to 10, 15 thousandths does not make a knife not sharp. It doesn't make it not a good cutter. It's all about the geometry of the blade, and it comes down considerably thin. And the heat treat is 100% proper on this 154. I can guarantee it. Coming from Hogue, who's been using 154 for a long time, it's going to be done to perfection. The geometry is going to be good on this knife, no question about it. It's not as thin as like a Deca is, but it's not meant to be. This is meant to be, a heavier duty user. Why don't we go ahead and we'll see what this edge is doing. And this is still the factory edge, guys. And like I said, I have not, or I don't know if I said it or not, but I have not sharpened this. I have not stropped this knife, and it is still razor sharp. I've probably used this more than any other Hogue that I have, because when I first got this, I just fell in love with it. my one Hogue Deca, my other Deca, the V1, not the V2 here, I also have used quite a bit, but nothing quite like this, and it is still just hair shaving sharp, no question about it. Still razor sharp. Love the edges that Hogue does. Their heat treats are fantastic. So if you're looking for, whether you're looking for a button lock that has great action, you know, and feels like you're actually opening a knife with a detent, this is definitely one to take a look at and consider. If you're looking for one that has a nice button and the closing action is fantastic, this is definitely one to take a look at. If you're looking for a good EDC knife or even a work knife, a user work knife, this is one to take a look at. Now, you know, how hard you were to use this kind of knife, that is definitely up to you. It's definitely not going to be as strong as a compression lock or a frame lock or a back lock. It's just not going to be. It's just in its design. But this is going to be very strong, and you can also lock behind that button so it cannot be disengaged. So that is a secondary safety measure. It's not gimmicky. It just slides behind the button there, a nice metal tab, and you cannot push that button in past a certain point, past unlocking it. So it's a nice little safety feature if you decide to get this and, you know, beat on it a little bit. But the way it's designed, the materials, this is a hard user, and it's a button lock. They don't usually go hand in hand or work very well together. But in this case, this is definitely a hard user in terms of a button lock. And, you know, I think they kind of designed this maybe to even be a little tactical as well, to kind of cover all bases, so to speak. And I think it does a great job. And with the right flicking, this has an awesome acoustic. It'll like ping once in a while if you can hit it just right. But it does have some nice thwacky acoustics. Let me know what you think of this guy down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this guy. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button before you head out. And if you're new to the channel or you are not subscribed to the channel, I would love to have you here. Hit the subscribe button down below the video, or click the GBALL Vision logo in the center of your screen there. I'm going to throw up 2 new videos. Highly recommend going and checking one of these out. I love you guys, and I will catch you on the next one.